Am I the asshole for buying a car after disagreement with my wife? My wife and I have been married for 3 years and prior to that dated for 10 years. I love her loads and she is my best friend. We are going through a slight rough patch in our marriage as I expect any relationship to go through. She currently flew back home to spend time with her parents because of a fight we had and is in another country to just clear her head. We both suffer from anxiety and she has high-level anxiety. This happened in THR week she was back home. We both make around $4,000 a month per person. We do not have joint accounts but share the fixed express such as rent, utilities and internet. My wife had purchased a brand new car last year for which she pays around $680 per month. This was the first time she has ever purchased a brand new car and IR was definitely a milestone for her. It's a pretty cool car too and way better than my current car, which my parents bought me 8 years ago, which they paid for the first year, and once I started working, I paid the remaining 4 years. The car was worth $13,000 and I spent loads of time in it and love it, but naturally it has become super old now and I've been looking to get a cool sports car myself since over a year now. Admittedly, my need to get a cool car also increased since my wife got hers. I do get to drive her car since I drive around everywhere when we go out. However, whenever I have driven her car, I am heavily policed cause she does not like the way I drive, even my own car. I don't blame her, it's her property and she has the right to tell me how I use it. Anyway, I had seen this used car from an auto dealership, which I loved instantly and I will pay roughly around $680 for it. The problem is, I wanted to go there and test drive the car, and that was fine with her. However, I ended up paying the booking deposit without consulting my wife. She got super upset about it because 1, she was sus about the dealership and if they would try to scam me. I don't blame her for this, since I am naive and have got scammed multiple times recently. 2. Because both of would be paying for expensive cars when we could be putting down money to DIY a house or saving that money. I recently got scammed off of $5,000 in some forex shit and I did that also when she advised me against it. Her problem is that once I get scammed, I ruin her mood by stressing her out too. Now, I solved her concern in point number 1 that I mentioned, where I verified with a friend and the main dealership that the car I'll be purchasing is actually a good deal and not a shady scam. Her second concern I couldn't solve, cause she just blocked me from all social so I can't contact her now. Should I cancel the non-refundable deposit of $1,300 to satisfy her? Or am I the asshole for doing this? Edit. I want to clarify that she does not expect me to cancel this deposit. IYHINK she is upset because I grossly disregarded her take on this and ended up doing what I wanted to do and that too kind of on impulse in the moment. Your wife blocked you from socials? What kind of communication hell is this? Not the asshole you just have to make sure you get your car and its payments when you divorce. This sounds like she doesn't want you to get a new car emo. Not the asshole. It's okay for her to buy an expensive car but not you? Get your car then get a divorce. She already moved out anyway. You're deluding yourself and you think this is a good marriage. Am I the asshole for not moving out until a work issue is resolved? Am I the asshole for not moving out until a work issue is resolved? I, 24, work in a program for disabled folks. We've recently had an issue with a client smearing in the bathroom stalls. My roommate, Violet, 27, and I are very close and we will vent to each other about our days when we get home. A couple days ago I was talking to Violet about this smearing issue and she started to back away from me. I asked what was wrong and she said she was disgusted. Total fair, I am too. It's nasty, and she left to go to her room. I didn't think anything of it until she texted me saying that she doesn't feel comfortable having me in the house, because of your proximity to free-range feces, and doesn't want me coming back to the house until this issue is resolved. No longer happening. To provide context, I don't go near this client. I don't touch or even interact with him closely because he is not my personal client. I sanitize and wash my hands constantly at work, so it's not like I'm not keeping myself clean and protected. Every surface this client touches is immediately sanitized by one of the staff as well. I explained this to Violet, but she said it still makes her uncomfortable knowing that and thinks I should stay somewhere else for the time being. I asked her where I was supposed to go and she said I should stay with my BF. My boyfriend lives with his family, so that's not an option. I reminded her of that and she said I could go to stay with my parents, but they live in the opposite end of the city and it would take me 2 hours to get to work every day if I did that. Plus I don't think this should even be an issue in the first place. I shouldn't be kicked out of my own home where I pay half the rent because of this. I told her I would be coming home like usual and would continue to keep myself safe and clean while at work, but she didn't like that and is now mad at me. She's been avoiding interacting with me since and sent a passive-aggressive text listing a number of shared appliances in our home that she'd prefer I didn't use until the issue at work was resolved. I told her if she's going to be this uncomfortable then she should go and stay somewhere else cause she's the one with the issue, not me. She says she doesn't have anywhere to go. She does not have family in our city or a partner she can stay with. While I have 2 options of places I could stay instead, so I should be the one to leave. She said since I told her about this her anxiety has been through the roof. She is worried about getting sick. And if cared about her I would take one for the team and move out until the issue is resolved. To be honest, this behavior from her is really surprising. I've never had her act like this before. I make sure to keep myself clean and safe at work. I do not see the issue here at all, but maybe I'm in the wrong? I asked Violet if she would have this attitude if I was a nurse around lots of bodily functions all day and she said that's different, but I fail to see how. So am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your roommate has made a bigger thing out of this than what it should be. Not the asshole. It's your home FFS. She can't dictate how you use things in the home, nor can she demand you move out. This is entirely her problem. If she has anxiety this bad I sympathize, but it's up to her to seek treatment. You need to put your foot down and tell her to get a grip, in my opinion. She's trying to manipulate you, don't allow her. Not the asshole. You pay half the rent, this is your home. Simply you tell her that you're not going anywhere, you'll be using the appliances, and she's going to have to deal with her issues on her own. Not the asshole. Your roommate seems to be going through a rough patch and is obsessing about something that should be a non-issue. It's her problem to fix, not yours. Lol, has Violet ever touched money or drunk out of a hotel glass? Then, she too, has been in close proximity to free-range poo. Am I the asshole for exploiting my sister's vulnerabilities because she was insecure of my success? My sister is 1 year older than me, but we are on the same level in our career. She was not able to pass the entrance exam on the first attempt. Later in life, we got an opportunity that if we pass a certain test we'll be able to get a very high-paying job. We applied together. The test has further 3 parts. We prepared and cleared first 2 parts together and I got more marks than her in each part except one section. Mind you that I always got more marks in every exam than her except a few during university duration. This all sounds like a competition, but as sisters we never discussed them, rather our families mentioned them to create a comparison between us. She was older and I can understand how her ego got hurt that I have always been able to get more and pass in the first attempt. She is also very fidgety and I remember in each of the exams, I have to force her to study daily according to schedule and also begged her that at least few days she should plan and bring us to start, but she never did once. I ignored that because the most important thing in those days was to pass the exam and also include her because I never wanted to fail her either. In the last part, the seats are limited for the exam and on the first day of opening up of slots, the seat was relatively cheaper but I still didn't have enough limit on my card, neither she has to purchase that. She started finding ways how to solve this, went to the bank with her husband, she is married and I am not, and asked them to increase the limit, but she knew it is going to take more than 1 day. 1 card can only purchase on seat and she was obviously running around for her and it was understandable because it was only 1 day. I have nothing on myself, my account recently got blocked and my parents' account does not have much limit. My mother panicked and saw that nobody is helping me, called her cousin and requested him to pay for me. He agreed and I finally get my seat. When my sister got the news, she went crazy and told everyone that how I betrayed her and I am selfish and I didn't wait with her to buy the expensive seat with her the next day. Everybody was questioning me as if I really betrayed her and I am the one who is in wrong. I was also questioning reality and asking myself, what have I really done? Remember that a lot of seats were still available but they were a little costly, but she got in after 2 days. She also said that she need emotional support in every step of her life and that's why one time she was leaving her husband because he wasn't letting her to be dependent on him. I was shocked at how much insecure, competitive and emotional parasite she is. I blurted out every insecurity and vulnerability on her that she ever shared with me, from calling her fat, to insecure, to dumb that she can't get better grades than me and a lot more. She got really mad and in the middle of the chat blocked me and still haven't replied for months. Am I really the asshole? You are the asshole. If people were questioning you, you should have thought and come up with an answer. You should not have blurted out your sister's insecurities. I can't believe you spent 3 paragraphs talking about how you had higher marks, and were clearly the better sister, as if that justifies betraying her innermost secrets. You are carrying a lot of resentment. Maybe look into therapy. And apologize to you, sister. You are the asshole. You've let your parents have the final word. They finally succeeded in pitting you against each other. I hope she doesn't forgive you for how childish you've been. You are the asshole and I feel sad for your sister. Obviously you are the asshole. You are the asshole. You all sound terrible, but in this instance your actions were inexcusable. Am I the asshole for bringing up my sister's weight to make a point? I have 2 sisters, Ava, 28F, and Bree, 26F. Recently our grandfather passed away. Bree and I were both able to travel to see him and offer support to our grandma before he died. But Ava was not, since her husband is currently looking for work, and they're short on money. After he died, they decided to have the funeral within the week. I called Ava and told her that if she wanted to come to the funeral, I would pay for the gas. She thanked me and said she would. The next day my grandma asked if Ava was coming for the funeral. I said yes. She asked if Ava's husband and kids were coming, and I said I wasn't sure. Bree spoke up and said, they'd have to since Ava is incapable. I cut her off and said that oh yes, they are coming. Bree tried to say another comment but I again cut her off and assured my grandma they would all be there. She left the room excited to see her great-grandkids. Bree asked why I interrupted her when all she was going to say was that Ava never bothered to learn to drive, so of course her husband would be coming. I replied that I knew Ava was embarrassed about not being able to drive and I didn't think we should make rude comments about her when she's not here to defend herself. Bree said that was stupid, and that if she didn't want people talking about her, she should just learn to do it. It's her own fault she doesn't know how. Now, this is not exactly true. She did try to learn, but every time Ava sat behind the wheel she would have a panic attack. Could she have pushed through it? Yeah, maybe, but the fact is, it's not that she never bothered, it's that she found it too hard to push past her panic attacks. I tried to explain this to Bree, but again she said that she refuses to go with the "that's just how they are" line of thinking. If she didn't learn how, she shouldn't be surprised when people talk about her. Exasperated, I asked her, would you like it if we all talked about how you're overweight when you're not around? Someone could make the argument that if you don't want us saying that, you should just lose weight. Bree immediately got angry and said that's completely different. I asked her how. She stormed out. When we were teenagers my mom got surprisingly pregnant. She ended up losing the baby at 6 months and internally hemorrhaged. She almost died and then fell into a depression for almost a year because her baby died. My parents fought a lot during that time and nearly got divorced. It was a very difficult time for us, and we all coped in our own ways. Bree's way was to eat. I don't blame her for being overweight. Could she stop eating unhealthily now and work out? Yeah, probably, but just like Ava, there were extenuating circumstances that made her the way she is. I wasn't trying to make fun of her weight at all. It was just the only example I could think of that was a similar dilemma where things occurred beyond their control. Bree is now angry at me for bringing up her weight. Am I the asshole? Going to be hated for this, but not the asshole. You weren't being cruel, and weight is a fair example of something that someone struggles to control and can't always help. Just like anxiety. Bree should walk outside her glass house before she throws rocks. Edit. Hated not hated, and Bree not Ava. Not the asshole because it's exactly the same. They both have conditions that are technically manageable, but haven't found the solutions yet. She's being ableist. Definitely not the asshole. Not the asshole. You were pointing out something that's a fact. Yes, generally we women do not like it when people make comments about our weight, especially when we know we are overweight. In this case, you're trying to make a point. It's not a personal attack. Not the asshole.